All right, but I think we will proceed in our program to the next part, which is a presentation by me on social sustainability. We will have the timeout dialogue discussion on the topic of social sustainability. And often these dialogues are before the dialogue or in the very beginning, you get to know the topic a little bit. And we have chosen to present this topic to you in the form of a presentation. So I will now try to share my screen. Let's see. If I choose the right page, this one. All right, now I'd like to ask if you see the first, something that might be the first page of my presentation, a blue page with a title, Social Sustainability, what it is and why it matters. I may mention my own background. I'm responsible for our Open University course on social sustainability. My own background originally is in economics, but I have studied social sciences as well. I think I can safely assume that we're all very familiar with the concept of sustainable development, so I will not go into detail here. We have learned that sustainable development is comprised of at least three components: ecological or environmental here in this picture, economic and social sustainability. And this is an image that you certainly have seen before, I'm sure, three circles that overlap. And you can see that here under social sustainability, there are concepts such as equity, empowerment, accessibility, participation, sharing, cultural identity, and institutional stability. Another picture that you certainly are familiar with, I assume, is sustainable development as consisting of the same three: social sustainability, ecological, and economic sustainability, as kind of pillars that support or make up sustainable development as a whole concept. Today we will look at this social component. What is it and why does it matter? Unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately for our discussion, there is no clear agreed upon definition of social sustainability. This snapshot is from a European Parliament Commission study or paper where quite in the beginning it is concluded that there is no definition of social sustainability that the authors would be able to give. This might be true for all of the components of sustainable development, but particularly social sustainability, since the definitions and approaches that people use are vary quite a lot from each other and are sometimes contradictory. So people end up even talking about quite different things when they discuss social sustainability. There are definitions and approaches, of course, and I will present a few in this presentation. I will not present all. This is not a comprehensive presentation. This is not a representative sample. There may be better definitions and approaches that I may have missed, but here are a few that I have found useful in my teaching and research. Social sustainability and the definitions will be here now approached from 4 different angles. First, from the point of view of people, human point of view, what do people need to thrive? How do we define social sustainability if we have in mind what do people need? The other approach is society. What does a sustainable society look like? That's obviously somewhat the same, but since people make up the society, but some of the criteria and questions in this approach are a bit different. Then we can ask if social sustainability is means to an end or an end in itself. Is it that social sustainability is needed for something, or is it needed as such? And then the fourth one, the fourth approach here claims that social sustainability is so complex as a phenomena that it cannot be approached from one angle, but it has to be approached as a complex problem. All right, so first, what do people need to thrive? I have here for this approach chosen two models and the first one here is something that is called the Stockholm wedding cake. It's from the Stockholm Resilience Center. And obviously the name comes from this shape, and this is quite simple. This is just based on the Sustainable Development Goals. And they are here grouped as either having to do with biosphere, the environment, ecology, society, or the economy. And here now the ones that are on the middle layer in society, then these would then represent what people need to thrive, the social side of development. Obviously, people need all of this, but these deal directly with people, like education, equality, food, and so on. Then the other one in this category, what do people need to thrive, is from Kate Raworth's Donut Economics. I'm sure many of you probably have heard about this. This model, it's fairly new, but it has become very popular, and for a reason, I would say. In this model, the social foundation, it's the innermost green circle, and this would represent socially sustainable development if we don't fall under this or inside this circle. So this social foundation represents basic human needs and basic human rights, and any society should not fall short of these in these categories in what the society is able to provide for its members. The outer dark green circle, that's the ecological ceiling, and that would then be the level that we are not allowed to go outside of. We should not overshoot, and this is based on again Stockholm Resilience Center's work, planetary boundaries in these different categories. And then in between these two is the safe and just space for humanity. Safe so that we don't ecologically overshoot, and just so that we don't treat people in an unfair way or deprive them of their basic needs and rights. So here the focus is on people's needs. What do people need to thrive, or at least not suffer? So these two are examples of approaches to social sustainability where you look at directly at people. Then if we want to look at society, what does a sustainable society look like? And one attempt at looking at this is what you can see here, Sustainable Society Index by a foundation called the Sustainable Society Foundation. And here you see that in the index there are categories at the right. There's economic well-being, then there's environmental well-being, and then this human well-being, which would represent the socially sustainable development if the society in these categories is successful. And here you can see similar things as in for example, the donut model, education, gender equality, income, good governance, health, and so on. Obviously, very many different actors try to get a grip of what socially sustainable development is and what social sustainability is. The next one I picked is the World Bank. And for them, as you know, the World Bank Group is a very large actor, and probably different actors within the World Bank system might have even other definitions, but this is one that I found. Social sustainability is about inclusive and let me see, resilient societies where citizens have voice and governments respond. And the three main pillars of social sustainability here are inclusion, empowerment, and resilience. So here the focus is on how the society works actually. And then this, of course, this particular way of functioning well would lead then to people's needs being met. But the focus is on how the society functions. There is something that resembles a definition or an attempt at in a way define what a socially sustainable society does, how it functions. It treats all members of society fairly, reinforces participation and the sense of community, supports health and functional capacity, provides the security and services required by its members. So this here again, we look at society, how the society, how it functions, how it takes care of its members. In the beginning, we had the circles and the pillars, and there all the different components of sustainability appear as equal. The wedding cake that we saw has at some of my students at least have commented that they don't like the fact that economy is at the top, because it appears to make economy more important than other aspects. And that can be discussed, obviously, whether it has been the intention in the model or not, probably not, maybe. But we now move to models where these three components, three different types of sustainability are not equal or don't have the same role. And here is something, or one model, sustainability as an onion. This is from a Swedish researcher called Christer Sanne. And unfortunately, the picture is in Swedish. I couldn't find it in English, but I'm sure you can guess which is which, because the words are so similar in this case. Hållbarhet, that's sustainability, but then there is the economy, ecology, and social sustainability. And here, the social sustainability is in the middle. And for him, this means that the social sustainability is the goal. That's the most important thing. Because that guarantees that people in society have good lives. Economic sustainability is surrounding the social one in this model, and that means that the economic sustainability in his model is the way, it's how we get to social sustainability. Economy exists to provide social sustainability, and then the ecological sustainability is the outermost layer, and this is to show that sets the conditions we cannot exceed or we cannot cross this outer kind of barrier that sets limits on our activity. Excuse me. And for him, for Christer Sanne, and in his model, social sustainability is what society aims for, what society should aim for. A socially sustainable society is one that's able to sustain itself, to reproduce, to deal with adversities, and recover from crises. So a socially sustainable society is one that can persist a long time, but not any kind of society. It's at the same time needs to be a society where people are able to live up to their expectations, people have good lives. So that's an approach where social sustainability is, that's the aim of human activity, aim of why we have a society. Finally, the fourth approach that I mentioned, or the fourth type of approach, is that social sustainability is multifaceted and cannot be approached in one single way. And here you see a diagram where sustainable development is in the familiar way divided into three: the biophysical or environmental, social, and economic sustainability. And here now the social one again is split into three that are called development, maintenance, and bridge sustainability. I will on the next slide explain this in more detail. Then these furthermore are then divided into different types, but I will focus now on this red oval, the words inside this red oval. And this comes from the work of three researchers, Balance and her colleagues. So here we have these three subcomponents of social sustainability: the development, bridge, and maintenance ones. Development social sustainability, this I would relate to the type of social sustainability that deals with human needs. So the focus here is to have development that meets basic human needs and rights, development in society that meets basic human needs and human rights. And what society would look like if this does not succeed, we would have underdevelopment, which we obviously in the world do have. And this, but not meaning that this only would apply to less developed countries. The authors note that there are lacking basic human, we meet basic human needs in not completely, even in our industrial country societies, and human rights are not also not respected. Even if we here talk about underdevelopment or lack of development, it does not mean that this would only apply to certain types of countries. Then the bridge social sustainability deals with the gap between our behavior and actions, and those behaviors and actions that would be compatible with ecological sustainability. So this focus here is changes in behavior needed to achieve ecological sustainability, and changes in people's attitudes toward the environment, the gap between what we actually do and what we ought to do. And the third one, maintenance social sustainability, focuses on maintaining a desired way of life, resilience of societies. So this deals with people's desire, if they have a life that they are satisfied with, to maintain it, and be resilient in the face of change. All three of these are needed, but they are often in conflict, because the first one deals with what people need. The second one deals with what is possible. And the third one with what people want or desire. And obviously, as we know, these are not all compatible, but there's conflict of interest and a need for compromise. or need for change in some of these components to be able to make it into one whole that would be as a society compatible with sustainability. Any solutions need to be equitable, so they need to take into consideration human needs and rights, meaningful, so that they really meaningfully contribute to a sustainable society, and socially acceptable, so that it's in accordance with what people want, what people desire. This quote is from the same study. A sustainable society is one where people actually want to live, but I quite like this quote. It describes many things quite well. And I think we almost can finish here and move on to our final slide, which is here to then lead us to our next step, which is the dialogue discussion. What do you think? How do you see social sustainability?